How's it going, guys? Kronos here. I am on a road trip right now, but I wanted to give you my reaction to Apoc, which I know was like a week and a half ago, so just didn't film a reaction when I was home. But BuffNerd wanted to put up his reaction, so I figured, just film something quick, and you can put it. We were gonna try to compress them into one video on the YouTube editor, so maybe it'll end up as two videos. Not quite sure, but nonetheless, we're gonna give that a shot. So anyways, first off, I want to give a huge thanks to Langley and the rest of the Nerf Haven team that hosted the war. It was a great, well-organized war as usual, and I highly recommend you go. Me and BuffNerd drove 8 hours, I think, so again, definitely worth the trek out, even if it's, longer than that. I know the crowd in Ohio that we war with a lot in Pittsburgh drove, I think, almost 12 hours, so wanted to also give a couple shout outs to some other people. Shout out to Aramec2014. He's another YouTuber about Nerf guns. He's a lot more subscribers than me, actually, but I still wanted to give a huge thanks to him because he let me use one of his rainbow pumps for pretty much the entire day at the war, and it just performed flawlessly. Just worked so well, and I would not have performed at the level that I like to perform at without it, because I don't have it a primary right now. Me and BuffNerd are gonna try to change that because I'm not really good with homemades, but I'm gonna work on that. So I wanted to give him a huge thanks because he makes really good videos. So check out his channel. I think he's got like 10,000 subscribers. So I know it's not like me, helping out a smaller YouTuber get some views, but nonetheless, just want to say thank you and get him, maybe some extra small amount of viewership. And I also wanted to thank someone else who gave me some stuff, which is Shoopy of the PA Power Clan. He doesn't actually have a YouTube, I don't think, but nonetheless, pretty well known in the community, in the NIC. Because he was actually giving away some stuff, and so let me have his Doomsayer and his Snap Carbine, as well as a Raven Shell. So I think BuffNerd's currently working on the Doomsayer because I already have enough projects that I need to just buckle down and finish, including the LS2K, which I did use at the war a bit. More on that in a bit. But anyways, huge thanks to him for letting me have this stuff. It's always nice to just have extra stuff. And yeah, I also wanted to thank BuffNerd, of course, for driving me out there. Really nice of him to let me tag along. I'm like the worst guest ever. I didn't know that I was going to Apoc to like a day before, and so it was really nice of him to be able to include me in that, even on such a short notice. Drop the camera there. All right. And so that's pretty much it. Also, just want to completely lost my train of thought. Sorry, this is kind of like an unprofessional video. I apologize for that. I'm just filming in the car quickly. There was something I actually wanted to say. Oh yeah, I tested the Longshot 2K at the war. I was talking with BuffNerd's dad, and he was saying, like, what kind of range are you expecting that? And of course I was like, yeah, I'm looking at like 100, 110 feet, standard NIC ranges. And BuffNerd goes, yeah, right, you're lucky if you get 80. And then when I tried it, it was shooting 60 feet. So definitely not what I was expecting out of a long shot, which is being used with the K26 segment. So I'm probably going to be switching out the Angel Breach for a Sawdizzle Breach, just because I need a better seal. And I might need new long shot internals. But the metal long shot grips turned out great. They work really well. I'm a huge fan. If I do more long shots, which I probably will just for fun, I'll probably be using those because they're just so nice. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing up that project. Hopefully, the paint got a little bit scratched at the war because I didn't clear coat it because I didn't have time, and the other set still isn't painted anyways. But I'm going to try to finish that project up at some point in the near future. And that's pretty much it, guys. Again, BuffNerd's video will hopefully be either the second half or the first half of this video. Not quite sure. He's going to try to do the YouTube editor thing. Excuse me, which is always a bit of a hassle because it's YouTube software. And so that's pretty much it, guys. It's a little bit long, so I apologize, but thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as usual, and have a good day wherever you are in the world.
I'll do a quick recap of Apoc. One last thing, I took quick reload clips for my hopper. These are 1 foot clear PVC tubes with end caps and pieces of a drink container taped to the side of it to hold darts in. So I carry 3 of these and my hopper clip that has the ball valve on the end, all in this cargo pocket, and then I'd start off with one of these in my hopper, These served me extremely well. If you haven't done this, I highly suggest it. It's just such an amazing thing to have when you're in the middle of having a showdown with Jay Lego and he's nerfing circles around you and you run out of ammo. So they're great things to have to quickly reload and try to stay in the fight. So now that about covers it for gear. For the recap, I'll go over a couple of the major pros and cons that I had about Apoc. First of all, I'd love to thank Langley for hosting such a great war. It lived up to all the hype that I heard about from Gears, Zala, Sublime Dom, 777. A couple users that I was contacting about learning new things and what I should do and not do at Apoc. So he ran a completely amazing war, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience. We had a round that we did called Slaughter. That's where one team gets first pick. They ran it so one team would have twice as many people as the other. So the more experienced team, they had first pick at a third of the group, and then everybody else was on the other team. So the better group, the group that got first pick, had 4 lives with 15-second respawn, and the other group had 2 lives with 15-second respawn. So each team had a balanced number of lives. Chops and Langley had an amazing speech at the beginning of this to the less experienced team. One thing that sealed the deal for that speech, for me at least, was when Chops brought up the fact that his first war, which happened to be, I think, Apoc 2008 or so, I'm not entirely sure on the year, but he snuck up on Angel and got him out with a stock recon, because he didn't really know what to bring to the war. There were a couple kids there that had stock Nerf guns, so there were a lot of retaliators and alpha troopers and rapid strikes, so they couldn't necessarily compete with people that had homemades like a rainbow pump or a pump snap or a plus bow, anything like that was just completely homemade and can outrange them by at least half. So they didn't fare too well, but I'm sure they had a great time. Another thing that I really liked about Slaughter is I ended up going off at a separate group with Chops. It was about 6 people. We were trying to get behind them to flank them, but we were just rushing through the woods and we ran into a couple of guys, which we cleared up pretty easily. But it got to a point where there's that last little curve to try to get behind them, where we ran into their left side, and I ended up getting taken out at that point by Zorn's Lima. He came up to my side and got me with his ESLT, which I did try out at the war, and I wasn't too amazed with the blaster. I thought that the prime was a little short and it wasn't too comfortable in the stock. I prefer my rainbow pump just because it's a larger blaster, so for a larger person it's much nicer. The ESTL stock stopped around here, so it was me holding a blaster like this, and the prime was 2 inches shorter than a full 6.5, 7 inches on this. So it took some getting used to, but I used it for a round or two, and it was alright. I can see how it might appeal to some people or not appeal to others like me. When we were about to start up a round of penetration, there were a bunch of people getting rocket launchers out, and Chops had this little air pistol thing that was shooting the smaller standard Kronos rockets, and I had my ultimator, and I challenged him to a duel between rocket launchers. It didn't end up too well for me, because he could outrange my ultimator by about twice the distance. So he had maybe 60, 70 feet, I had 25 or so. So it wasn't too fair of a fight, but it was still a lot of fun running around the entire group trying to hit each other with massive ammo coming off of old alternative ammo launchers. So it was a great experience, and I had a ton of fun with that. Some other things, I chased down Langley with my ultimate missile blast, like that I said before. You saw the video. It was super awesome on my part, and I got to take down the head moderator of Nerf Haven, who all the guys that were there were super fun to Nerf with, great people, and I can't wait to go back. Some other things, my 5K, we were standing at the staging area for Apoc, and I was just holding my 5K, talking about it a little bit with Chops, and he was talking about how they're generally banned at Apoc, but because of my darts, it wasn't getting the exact ranges that a single 5K generally gets. So Chops picked it up and used his own dart, and it instantly shot about 10 to 20 feet further. He shot from the path at the staging area all the way to the other tree line, so it was an amazingly far shot, at least 140 feet, and it was completely ridiculous. So everybody was talking about how my 5K shot instantly further just because Chops picked it up. Another thing that was happening at Apoc, there was a guy that was walking around with a Sharpie and a deploy, sort of like a piece of memorabilia to be had at Apoc. So everybody that was there signed it. There were various names, can't remember all of them, but it was just a funny thing going around with a stupid deploy, one of the worst blasters that Nerf has put out, and everybody signing it. There was another ridiculous blaster there, PBZ, that's his Nerf Haven account. He had a triple hamp, but it was 3 massive plunger tubes, at least 3 or 4 inch PVC, about that big, firing out of a at least 4 or 5 foot long barrel. It was completely ridiculous, and they tried using it in a round of freeze tag, but Langley wouldn't let them. So it just ended up poorly for them. Another great thing that happened, Apoc went about 2 hours later than it generally does. We wrapped up Nerfing around 6 o'clock, so it was pretty long for a standard Nerf war. I know the Pittsburgh ones, we don't Nerf as much as we do at Apoc because Langley tries to keep a rigid schedule. So we may do 3/4 of the rounds that they do at Apoc in a Pittsburgh war, but there's a lot of talking and trading and stuff like that. It's just having a good time with other people that share your interest. So it was really cool that I got to Nerf for a lot more. It's such a great area. The Deal Test Site, or Joe Palladita Park, is an amazing place to Nerf. The tunnels, there are 2 separate archways of trees that were the main areas of Nerfing. There's that in the Grove. There's only like 1 or 2 rounds of Gunslinger in the Grove, which I participated in. It would probably be a really cool place to have a war with primaries, not necessarily a pistols round, because there's a lot of running after each other in such a large open space, which was great, but I feel like it'd be better with a primary. I was pretty disappointed that nobody else from the Pittsburgh clan, the Sex Dwarves, couldn't make it. I know Jay Wasco and Sublet Dom 777 were mean to go, but Wasco broke his ankle about a week or 2 before the war, and Dom just couldn't make it out for some reason. So it ended up being Kronos and I representing the local clan with semi-flying colors. We had our moments, but all in all, it was sad not to see the local clan there. Another person that was severely missed was Gears. He recently moved to Chicago, so he couldn't make it. He was moving actually the day before Apoc, so he was pretty bummed about that. I Nerfed with him at the last Pittsburgh war, and he's a super cool guy, and I can't wait to Nerf with him again. At the end of the day, we had a sort of dinky round called Missile Defense, because most of the people wanted to do speed rounds, but there were a couple guys that wanted to keep playing penetration. There were about 8 total, so it ended up being Chops, Evil Bunny Yo, Zala, J Lego, a girl that Zala brought with him that I can't remember her name, me, and another person or 2. And there were 4 people per side. We had Chops and Evil Bunny Yo sitting at the buckets, just lobbing missiles at each other. And then there was me with my ultimate missile blast and a guy with the demolisher. And we were the moving around rocket launcher guys. and then there were two people with pistols on either side. We called it missile defense because every time that somebody tried to get close with a rocket launcher to score a point, the guy sitting at the bucket would end up hitting them. So to wrap it up, we had like 5 minutes left in the day. So Chops and Eel Bunny-O both got up and started running around as well. I think my team ended up winning. I was on Chops, Zalaz, and the girl that came with Zala. I was on their team, and we ended up winning in the end, so that was cool. But throughout the entire course of that round, it was at least 20-25 minutes. Every time that I finished pumping my ultimate missile blast, I'd look up and Jay Lego had just shot me. So I ended up being Jax's dart magnet for that round. So it was pretty fighty for him, but after a time it just got to be plain annoying. The overall main highlight of this trip to New Jersey, aside from the war itself, we were about 2 hours out from New Jersey, and we stopped at a rest stop just as the Ohio crew pulled in. So Zala, CK32, Prince, and the girl that they brought with them, they all pulled in, and we talked for a good 30-35 minutes or so, and it was just super cool seeing them on the road, knowing that they're going. It made the war a little bit less nerve-wracking and intimidating, because knowing that there'd be people there that I'd already nerfed with and were good friends with. So that was pretty cool, because they were the only people that I really did know at the war, because the Pittsburgh people couldn't make it. So that was a super cool thing that happened, and so I think that about wraps it up for my overview of Apoc, for my experience at least. I apologize for the super long video. I don't have the time on hand, but it's probably at least 20 minutes. So if you sat through, great for you. You're super cool. And yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it. And I hope to see you at Nerf.